Hey, welcome back. So this is the wall that I have prepared for the one side of the bathroom. Before I put any trim along this decorative trim along the barrier here between the tile paper and the wallpaper, I'm gonna have to frame in the window. But what I want to do here, take my ruler, just want to measure the thickness of this piece of wood. That'll help us determine sort of what we're doing. So it's really pretty much just a full centimeter there. So that makes life a little bit easier. You want to go right to the edge of your window, and I would mark, the 1 centimeter mark. Mark the 1 centimeter mark. And I'm going to want to do that on the top. I'm going to do that. I mark it in a few places, and that way you don't have to worry about keeping your ruler straight when you're measuring other things. If you just do one dot and then you try to draw a straight line, chances are you're going to be off a little bit. So I very lightly want to just, really lightly. Now this is also something you can erase a little bit later if it does remain visible, but I'm just going to do a really, really faint line. And I'm going to do a really faint line on this side as well at the 1 centimeter mark. All right, the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to take my trim. You're going to want to cut the corners so that you want to miter the corners. I mean, I guess you don't have to. You could just abut it straight, but I don't think that would look very good. So I'm actually going to draw on the front of the wood, sort of 45-degree angle, where I see a dot here where I had drawn it, and then I've got that line. I've got to sort of make it up to the corner of the window. So I'm just going to come along with my knife, and I'm going to cut along that line. So that would fit along the bottom side of the window. Now the thing I love about doing this mat board method is that you can do all this like right here instead of doing it in situ, like in the dollhouse, which I think would be so difficult. None of the windows on this dollhouse are finished, and I can't imagine trying to do all of this stuff inside the dollhouse, inside such a closed space. So there's the bottom board. So this is just some embossable window plastic, and I'm just going to be using it here to cover this window. Actually, this is beautiful the way that the sizing is working here. I'm actually just going to take my ruler right here, just score it very lightly. I don't want to cut the wallpaper in the back there. Cut it, and I've ended up with this beautiful, really nice piece of plastic I'm going to be putting here. Now, none of the dollhouse windows in my dollhouse have any trim around them at all. Like, they don't have any trim, they don't have any plastic. Plastic is, well, it's really good if you can have a solid window just to keep the dust out. I don't know if you also find that dusting in your dollhouse is a problem. It accumulates dust, and then it's kind of difficult to keep it clean. So what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to put a little bit of this glue here. A little bit of this glue, and I'm just going to place this down. And I'm just going to use my ruler to press down the edges. All right. Now, the trim. A little bit tricky to figure out exactly where to do the cuts for this. And, don't worry, if you're probably going to have to make a few cuts. I'm going to line this up. I think this is how I'm sort of going to cheat when I'm doing this project, because getting them to line up perfectly is going to be difficult at best. I'm going to line it up like this, and then I'm actually going to draw on the wood what this angle is here. All right, if you do it this way, you're going to be matching piece to piece, and you're not, you know, you're not going to have to worry if the angles are exactly perfect. But you see how those two corners now, they meet up. So the piece that I just cut matches this piece, which is pretty good. This is the top piece. I need a bottom piece now. I'm actually going to draw on here. I'm going to make the bottom piece. We're going to come along here, cut it. This other side, here we go. Let's cut this. Here it is. So this is my bottom piece. And this is my top piece. And then I have cut the angle for this here to match up with that. The angle here. Yeah, Cairo. Okay, so I've cut the two top pieces. I've measured and drew the bottom piece here. I just discovered something, that this is balsa wood, so it's very, very thin. So I figured out that you're able to actually cut this stuff with scissors. So here we go. Snip. And we'll do this side too. All right. So with luck now, it's so easy to get your mind mixed up when it comes to the angles and it comes to which side faces in, which side faces out. It's pretty easy to get mixed up. Yeah, Cairo. Pretty easy to get mixed up. So this is partly why I like doing it this way, so I can sort of see what I'm working with here. So here are the pieces cut to fit the window. I've got the plastic in place. I've got the pieces roughly cut. Now what I'm going to do first is paint this trim white. I've just got some satin acrylic paint. I'm going to paint these edges up, and then I'll come back for attaching them to the window. So you want to just make sure you definitely get along the inside edges, the outside edges too, because you're going to be looking in and you'll be able to see that. Get that all painted up, and we'll return for the assembly. All right, so I'm going to be brave and put the first piece on, a little tiny bit of glue. Again, you really don't want glue to be pouring out of the edges. That would just make a mess. We're going to put it right there. Oh yeah, see, just like that. I'm also thinking at these top, like where the joints are, you might get away later on with touching them up with a little bit of the white paint, so you can sort of, what are you doing? My goodness gracious. That's this helper again. Yeah. There we go. I plan on filling in some of the gaps that I can see here with a little bit of the white paint. I'll show you that. I'm just going to use a little bit of the paint here, very gently. I'm going to add a little extra paint to the corners. I've got some white, there's white wood that goes up along the entire edge, and I had cut the mat board to fit the space of the wall. And then I have this really nice chair rail. I actually did get that on Amazon. So one of the huge benefits of decorating your walls, if you're using wallpaper, which I think most people are doing, if you just want to paint inside, it's probably not as tricky, but it's so much easier to cut the mat board, do the decorating, because then any fine tuning, none of the windows in my dollhouse have wood trim around it. None of the windows have plastic. So having it out of the dollhouse, I was easily able to put the plastic in, cut the trim, paint the trim, get it put on, do the wallpapering, make sure everything is flat. The next thing I want to do in the dollhouse is put a chair rail around between the tile layer and the top layer. And I couldn't do that until the window was finished because I wouldn't know where to cut it. So I'm just going to come along here and measure this side. So I've measured that side of the window and I'm going to go ahead and make that cut. Okay, so I just cut those with my knife, and I'm trying to figure out where exactly I'm going to want them to be. I think I'm going to line them up with the top of that hexagon there so that they're not, maybe they're about halfway over the division between the wallpaper and the tile paper. Tiny little strip. And I'm just going to spread that out a little bit. Again, you don't want glue oozing out all over your project. Okay, so that I'm going to line up with the top of the hexagons there. And there is our wall, decorated wall, ready to be popped into place in the dollhouse. That little piece just fell a little bit. There we go. I put plastic in the window, trimmed the window, and put the wall trim on. So the next thing that we'll do is drill a hole there for the lamp and mount the lamp. Okay, so this is the light fixture that's going to be going in place on this wall. And the first step that you need to do is to remove these plugs that are here. Hang on to them. Hang on to the whole plug apparatus because you might need it for another application. You can pull the wires up, pull that wire forward, and then you'll see sort of the lights. Yank the wire out like that. This way, I'm going to be able to mount this light fixture flush to the wall, and the wire is going to be hidden. There we go. Drill a hole through the paper there, and I'm just going to poke the fibers of the wallpaper and stuff right through so that it's easy to pass the wire. Now there's your light fixture, and I have removed the plug, so I'm just going to sort of twist these ends together so that it's easy to pop through, and I'm going to pop this wire through the hole there. Okay, so now on this side you can see I'm just going to be pulling the wire through, and on this side be pulling it up until the light fixture is flush. There it is. Now, so there it's going to be, and I think for this application, I am going to glue it in place. Now, I want to introduce you to a really cool glue product. You've heard of crazy glue, but this is the ultimate in crazy glues. It's a two-part glue. It doesn't stick unless both parts are applied. And for an application like this, where I want to get my light in place, I want it to be in place and fixed relatively quickly. I don't want to wait forever for it to dry. You spray, you put the glue down, and then you come along and you just spray the other half of what you're doing. Now, I'm going to pull this string, and there we go. Put the light fixture in place where I want it to be on the paper, and there it is, and there it will remain permanently. This glue is incredible. You put the glue on one side of what you're doing, and then you activate the other side with the spray, and then once they connect, it activates, and that's there forever. So if I change my mind about the light fixture, well, I'll have to change my mind on the wallpaper too. But this is the beauty of this way of decorating, simply because the wire now is going to be tucked in behind this panel. So the wire, I'm probably going to tack it. I'll tack it down It's going to run out the back wall, the back corner of the dollhouse, and then I'm going to join the wires together. But on this side, this just pops into the bathroom, and if I change my mind on lighting or wallpaper or design, I just remove the whole thing and start again with whatever pattern I'd like to do in the future. You could just use tape. You could use a little bit of tape, or for me right now, what I choose to do is I'm going to hold it down with this product, and it's there forever now. Basically in the corner of the bathroom, and there's a hole going to the back of the dollhouse. That's where all my wires are going to meet up. There we go. All right, so my wire is fixed. It's not going to slide around, move around, and there's my bathroom wall. So I will show you what it looks like in place in just a second. Okay, so here's the bathroom. I've painted the trim all the way around, a nice bright white. There is my flooring. Now the light fixture from down below in the kitchen, I've got the wire running up through the floor, and I've run it out through a hole in the corner of the dollhouse. So I'm going to run all the wires through that little hole. This corner is going to be, there's the little hole that I drilled, about 1/8 of an inch. Now all of the wires are going to be run through that little hole. So the first step is to take the wire from this light here that's running along the back. I'm going to run, sorry, I'm just going to put the end of that wire through the little hole, and then we'll put the wall in place. Okay, so I've put a little bit of glue on that wall there. Pop the decorated wall into place. So, well, okay, so there it is, the floor done on the mat board so that it can be lifted in or out. The window now has some plastic in it. Light fixture is mounted flush on the wallpaper, and the entire panel has just been popped into the house, stuck on the wall. Now if I had any other light fixtures that I wanted to add, I would have done the same thing. Not a bad idea if you want to have like an outlet, like a plug over here. I don't need it for this because I think the shower is going to go in that corner, and I wired the shower up. So I've tacked this lightly. I did not put a lot of glue on this wall, so I'm just going to have to sort of touch it once in a while. And this is good and secure with that crazy glue like substance. And here is the bathroom. So that window turned out really well. Really happy with how that turned out, and the chair well. So now the next step for me is I have a piece of mat board cut for that back wall, and I'm going to want to decorate it the same way I did this one, and then pop it into place. And again, I'm probably going to maybe put an outlet in that far left corner. I think that's where the bathtub is going to be. I'll decide, maybe I'll have a light fixture above the tub. Not sure. I've got to be careful how many bulbs I'm using for the size of my adapter. But for now, there's that bathroom, and I'll get in touch as soon as I have completed decorating that wall, and we'll put that one into place. All right, thank you for watching The Creature Cozy.